You can't accuse me
No,
of being biased.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're not fooling me, Piers. I'm sorry, because like I came on your show many times. I discussed October 7th. Many people came to you and asked you, and people said, "Oh, Piers Morgan have like changed the mind." I'm sorry. It doesn't fool me for a second.
It's not about changing my mind.
I'm sorry. You and the Western media have been complicit in diverting and deflecting the truth and the facts. You are actually the real Iron Dome of Israel. You pretend to ask a tough question for the Israeli to maintain your credibility, but like you, over the past 2 years, you had laundering Zionist talking points. You never investigated the Hannibal Directive. You never questioned why it took them 6 hours to respond. You never used the Hannibal.
Well, how many times have I had you on the show?
No.
Well, how many times?
Don't throw.
How many times have you been on?
It doesn't matter. No. It's not about.
You say
me.
I never question these things. I've platformed you multiple times, and you have talked about this every time, right? So you have been doing that on my show. Literally, you have been doing that on my show.
And you effectively sabotage these interviews. I brought up in your interviews many times Asa White Stanley, who's a British reporter who talked in length about the rape hoax, about the Hannibal Directive, and he was raided by British police. They took his laptop, and I asked you twice on your show to bring him on your show to talk to you about how the Israeli propaganda lies are all lies, but you never did. If you actually were actually honest about this, you would do this. Not about platforming. I mean, you platforming people. It's good for views. It's good for reach. But like, I'm sorry, it's about like how many times did Ben Shapiro come on your show and he talked about moral equivalency? There is no moral equivalency. There is more moral equivalency. While if
he thinks there is.
Yeah. He said there's no moral equivalency between Hamas and Israel.
Right.
He said that.
That's
but
right.
the thing is, if any journalist who had read a little bit, who would say, well, Noam Chomsky said that moral equivalency is a propaganda term that was used in order to prevent us from looking to our action. So we turn people into bad guys and good guys. The bad guys, even if he's occupied, he deserves to be killed. The good guys, even if they nuke them, it's okay because it's the good guys. You see, this is how you do the conversation. It's not about platforming.
You think Ben Shapiro, listen, Bassem, you think Ben Shapiro is very partisan to the Israeli position? I wouldn't disagree. I don't think he would disagree. But many people think you are very partisan the other way, and that your hatred of all things Israel leads you to say things. Well, leads you. Hang on. Leads you to say things. Leads you to say things like this. This is what you said about the Charlie Kirk murder in relation. Many people think you were implying something about Israel. Here, let's take a listen.
Yeah. Okay. Charlie Kirk is an obvious hit job. What happened there? But will we get the answer? No. They will stick it to whatever and then use it. I don't know. Maybe they would stick it to Iran, like Netanyahu and his people, the Israeli wire and the others were pushing for Iran being the culprit behind Trump's assassination. They can do that to Charlie Kirk and start a war, or stick it to the left and start a civil war. There is anger, and there were people who would use this anger.
So Bassem, just to be clear, who committed the hit job on Charlie Kirk?
I don't know, but I find it very interesting that Netanyahu, a prime minister of a country, went around the TV shows making sure that we didn't kill. I mean, this is like a very weird position.
So are you suggesting Israel did?
Have you ever? No, I'm not suggesting.
But you are suggesting that, aren't you?
Because the FBI is lying to us. The FBI has been lying to us.
Right.
I mean, I'll give you an example.
But why don't you be honest in the way you always want everybody else to be honest? Why don't you be honest and admit that when you say Charlie Kirk's murder was clearly a hit job, and then you start talking immediately about Netanyahu denying it was him, that you believe, or you want people to think?
I have doubts.
You want people to think it may be an Israel hit job.
I have doubts. Because, I mean, look at the facts.
Why on earth would it be an Israel hit job? We know who it was.
I am not sure. I don't know. Well, another patsy, 22 years old, kicking off in his mom's basement. I mean, another like Trump. I mean, here's the thing. The FBI actually has been lying to us. They have been covering for, they told us about the Epstein file, which is Israel is clearly involved. And then they said there's no Epstein file. Israel has been holding 98% of the Congress hostage, either with money or blackmail. And you cannot dispute that. And actually, if you want to dispute that, here's a little case for you. In that last month, a guy by the name of Tom Alexandrovich, he was the head of cybersecurity in Netanyahu's government, right? And this guy, he's not a random guy. He's part of the Netanyahu government. And he was caught in Nevada in a FBI sting child sex operation, trying to lure a 15 years old minor. That guy was protected by the DA, who's Israeli, by the way, in Nevada, and he went on the plane and he missed his trial. Now, you come to me and you tell me all of these things, like when people are raving about Israeli Mossad and how they're infiltrating, and then suddenly we have to believe that they're innocent. I mean, not a single mainstream outlet talk about Tom Alexandrovich. So now you have pedophiles coming into our country.
Actually, I've read that story. Children. I've read that story on multiple mainstream media outlets.
No, not a single one. Go to ChatGPT right now. And
I'm very familiar with that story.
No. Yeah, you have seen them on Young Turks. You have seen them on Breaking Points. You have seen them on those independent media outlets. You have seen them on podcasts.
I've read it on The Guardian.
Yeah, The Guardian. I'm talking about American mainstream, right? American mainstream. Not a single comedian in late night show even discussed this. So the question is, when you have this cover up by the FBI, when the FBI let a pedophile from Israel flies back to Israel, while also Israel is known to be holding the biggest number of pedophiles escaping from justice, having refuge there. All of these things, doesn't make you what the hell? This is like a whole cover up.
Well, it does, but then it does, Bassem. But then when I see you say Charlie Kirk's murder was clearly a hit job and you imply it's Israel, I think you've lost your mind.
Maybe I did. I lost my mind when I told you about the Hannibal Directive, and then I came.
No, I think there's merit to the Hannibal Directive story.
Oh, there's merit.
Yeah, but I think you're completely.
Because I remember you making fun of me, and you telling me you showed me just a bunch of pictures.
Yeah, unlike you, Bassem.
So now you're changing your mind.
My views of things evolve when I see new information. It's called being a journalist.
Really? Why don't you do your job as a journalist and actually talk
what
about
you mean is, why don't I smear? What you would like me to do as a journalist is only focus on anti-Israel stuff, and that's fine.
No,
that's what you want to do.
No. I'm saying that you're not asking the right questions because you.
Well, maybe you're a better journalist than I am. Then.
No. I'm not a better. I'm just like a real normal guy looking in the internet. But let me ask you a question. You always talk about hostages, and then Israel goes to Qatar and bomb the negotiating team about hostages.
Yeah.
While you, for 2 years,
you
were always like, what about the hostages? What about the hostages? At this point, and here's my
Why don't you ask me what I think of that? Given I've literally interviewed today Israel's UN ambassador Danny Danon about the attack in Doha.
About time.
Well, why don't you ask me what I think first before you make? No, Bassem, I'm sorry. Before you make presumptions about what I think about it, why don't you ask me what I think about it?
It's not about presumptions. You have actually laundered a lot of Zionist talking points, and you never asked the tough question. You ask the tough question now when it is fashionable.
So why do I get so many Zionists telling me the complete opposite?
Yeah. Well, they do that to everybody. It's like they do that. They even talk. They even called Biden and Trump.
But what is your point about the strike in Doha? You don't think I'm against that?
No, I'm not talking about them against that. I'm talking about you always put the hostages front and center.
Yeah.
Right? And we have told you many times, Piers, for 2 years, it's never about the hostages. It's never about the hostages. But you would put people, what about the hostages? And we told you, Netanyahu doesn't care about the hostages. We told you from different sources from the Israeli government, it's not about the hostages.
They should be released, right, Bassem? They should be released.
Yeah, they should release. But it doesn't matter if you have 50 hostages or 20 hostages. You don't decimate a whole country, a whole people.
But I agree.
It's not an excuse.
I agree with you.
Here's the thing. My question for
Bassem, I agree with you.
Why should you even take Israel for any word that it said, right? They lied about not targeting civilians. They lied about not targeting doctors, women, children, building. They lied about the intention not to displace people in Gaza, and they're doing it. They lied about being everybody's.
I don't think you've watched my show for a while, have you, Bassem? Because otherwise you would know that if you would watch my show, you would know that one of the Bassem, if I may respond, you would know if you'd watched my show for the last few months that one of my biggest criticisms is Israel's refusal to allow international media into Gaza to independently verify what's been going on. Because my strong suspicion is that when they finally get in there, they will find a lot of evidence of war crimes. I've said that very loudly and clearly.
I'm sorry, Piers. The Israeli soldiers, they film on TikTok their war crimes and they put it on the word. Do you? I'm sorry. I did. Anybody who knows anything about an army, any army in the world, know that army is all about this Those people who are not going around with their mobile phone shooting this and putting out unless the army is letting them. Because I don't think the British army or the French army or the Egyptian army or the American army will allow their soldiers shooting this and putting there unless there is some sort of unwritten rules like, yeah, show them what we can do. This is not just like a bunch of...
But I've called that stuff out, as you know, or maybe you don't know.
Yeah,
I've said it's totally wrong. The trouble is, Bassem, it's never enough for you. You see, it doesn't matter how critical journalists are about Israel. It will never be enough for you because you want the right. You want the right to suggest that Charlie Kirk was the subject of a hit job by Israel. You want the world to think that. That's why you said what you said, and that's why when I asked you, you went, Netanyahu says it wasn't him.
By the way, I'm not even the only one. People are actually... Here's the thing: if you continue lying to your people, right? I'll tell you what. Let's call me a conspiracy theorist, right?
Yeah.
Call me someone who is illogical. Call me whatever you want. If your government continues to lie to you consistently, this is where conspiracy theorists thrive. If you're not transparent,
why do you want to be one of them?
If you want to cover up, no. I'm not saying I'm one of them.
Why float a mad conspiracy theory about Israel?
Because it's the internet, and I'm a comedian.
Okay,
and
but it's not that funny, though, is it?
Actually, a lot of people thought it was very funny.
You have millions, I'm sure we did, but millions of people follow you, and you want them to think that Israel was behind the murder of Charlie Kirk. And you call me an ill-informed, irresponsible journalist.
Yeah, because I'm not a journalist. I'm a comedian. Remember, I'm a clown. I
don't think you're a clown.
That's what I do. Oh, I'm a clown. Actually, I'm a comedian. Comedians are actually overpaid.
But I think you're somebody who is so blindly hateful of all things Israel that you'll even promote a conspiracy theory, which is obvious nonsense, that they have something to do with Charlie Kirk's murder.
I'm not blindly hateful of Israel. I'm actually eyes wide open hateful of Israel.
Sure. But unfortunately, what it's done is driven you to promote conspiracy theories about their potential involvement in Charlie Kirk's murder.
I just released a video today, and I told them, you need to give us better lies. I didn't even mention that Israel. I said, like, this is a hit job. It was a hit job. Whether it was like a...
You inferred it was Israel, and when I asked you about it, you went on a little rant about Netanyahu. Everyone can see it for what it is.
No. Okay. So call me a conspiracy theorist.
No, I think you're doing it quite deliberately because you hate Israel so much. You want to associate it with every bad thing that's going on in the world. Whereas I prefer to be a bit more nuanced about it. Let me ask you before we finish about the Elon Musk intervention in the UK protests at the weekend, the Unite the Kingdom rally organised by Tommy Robinson. What was your view of that?
Actually, there was a scene that I found it very interesting. I felt like the Maori, which is the indigenous people of New Zealand, they were doing like a traditional dance, like a haka dance, and they were like tearing off the Palestinian flag, which I found it's like an oxymoron, like indigenous people tearing off Palestine. Well, let's talk about Toby Robinson. This guy has been in Israel many times, and he has like IDF shirts and Mossad shirts all over. Should we actually call that a conspiracy theory, that he's not like actually like someone who's been pushing a certain agenda, or that also?
No, he's obviously been pushing a certain agenda. He's very pro-Israel, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's not a conspiracy theory then.
No, it's a fact. He admits it.
So Israel openly causing civil unrest in London. In London, Israel has been openly causing all of these problems. Israel has been openly.
But he's not Israeli, is he?
No. But he is being put by Israel. Like Israel doesn't have to. Like, I mean,
he was doing this stuff long before Israel came along. Trust me.
The 525 Congress people out of the 535, which is 98% of Congress, they're all paid by Israel and not Israelis, and they're causing more damage to American public more than anything. So the thing is, let me tell you something that like it might actually make you see where I come from. If you are a citizen of a country, and it is the superpower of the world. It is one of. By the way, I like living in the United States. The United States is a great country, and the people here are great. I have never had a single bad day here because the people here are lovely, and it's a great country, a great potential, wonderful people. But when you see that all of your politicians, all of your representatives are openly financed by a rogue country that is indicted in the ICC and ICJ. And just last year we sent them $30 billion, and we sent them billions and billions of dollars, and we see all of our infrastructure is falling. you will also hate that country. It's not that even if Gaza like is resolved today, I don't see it resolving in a good way, right? Even that still stands. Israel is a leash on our system, on our country, on your country.
All right, can we get back to the rally?
On your country.
Can we get back to the rally in London? That was the question I asked you. And whether you think it was right for Elon Musk to get involved in the way that he did, and to say you have to fight violence on the left, you have to fight back. What did you think of that?
I mean, isn't that inciting violence? The richest guy in the world, who has the biggest platform in the world, who, by the way, just suspended the Twitter account of the flotilla that going there to Israel, which is making him very biased. But I don't understand the guy. It is crazy now that we're seeing people in tech using their power to incite violence. It is crazy and it is unacceptable. And I think you, as a British citizen yourself, should be worried. You should be worried because for the past 2 months, nonstop, daily, Elon Musk has been tweeting about Muslim gangs raping women, and he's even getting cases from 1991, where statistics say that actually 85% of rape and the criminal crimes are actually done by white people. So I don't understand. Is that helpful? Is that healthy to England?
Well, what was not healthy was a massive cover-up going on with the almost exclusively British Pakistani gangs who were grooming and raping many young girls, including underage girls, for many years, and it was deliberately covered up to avoid creating any racial tension. And then subsequent governments single-handedly failed to deal with this and made it worse. So yeah, that was a real scandal, and Robinson was very vocal about it, and it played into his hands as an example of the establishment working to cover up the sexual abuse of young girls.
Yes, the cover-up of sex and abuse of young girls and men should not go away, like Tom Alexandrovich, who actually escaped. That's another cover-up. I mean,
presumably you would condemn those British. You would condemn those British. You would condemn, I presume, those British Pakistani men for what they did to those girls, right?
And I would condemn the governments who covered up for them.
Okay,
and
good.
I would actually ask them to be brought to trial.
Yeah, I agree.
The same way that everybody in the FBI should be brought to trial for covering up Epstein files and Tom Alexandrovich.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't disagree.
Good.
Let's end on a note of agreement. Good to have you back on Uncensored, Bassem. Thank you very much.